Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, DeSean Strickland, storming the cage in flip-flops and attacking a regional fighter. He just can't avoid controversy. I think Strickland's actually rehearsing bits and getting ready for his eventual crossover to the WWE, because DeSean is quite the character. This will probably turn out to be a series, The Misadventures of DeSean Strickland, I'll call it, because I think a lot more moments like these are just bound to happen in the near future. Here's fellow gladiator Chris Curtis storming the cage. We'll go through exactly what happened and what led to this moment, but basically, this is all about DeSean Strickland. Here he is with his Henny, his UFC world title that he took from pound for pound great Adesanya, looking like this. And so basically, in all seriousness, Sean Strickland, fresh off a loss to Dricus du Plessis not too long ago, UFC 312, just failing to crack through the plot armor of DDP. It is what it is. Kind of looks like he has a bit of a staph infection going on here. So that's where he's at with his career. And brother-in-arms Chris Curtis, fresh off a KO loss to Roman Kopylov. He fights real soon. Being TKO finished with 1 second left on the clock. So these guys, they aren't in the greatest spirits. They were coaching their buddy on a regional show, and they were taunted by this Mexican, Luis Hernandez, and they didn't take too kindly to it. You thought Tim Welch was bad. Sean Strickland, is a little mouthy in the corner, so maybe this guy wasn't having it, and he pulled off quite a gesture. We'll dive right into it. And he soon found out you don't test Sean Strickland. Just going to play bits and pieces of it here to give you some context. This is immediately after the fight. Luis Hernandez showing all class and dignity in victory here, just completely stunting on the Sean Strickland in the corner, just saying, I respect and admire you, essentially. And then shortly after, we see all hell just breaks loose shortly after. Somebody throws the towel in. In comes Sean Strickland in his flip-flops, ready for war, standing on business. Chris Curtis in pursuit as well. They make their entrance to the cage. Hernandez gaining no protection from any officials here, left to fend for himself. And as you can see, the flip-flops go flying. In comes DeSean in pursuit, looking for some fisticuffs. And, swiftly delivers, I believe, 1 or 2 punches bare knuckle. Great stuff. Chris Curtis, the savior, the angel himself, coming in and protecting his fellow man, shielding himself from, the wrath of DeSean, as this senior citizen desperately tries to haul Strickland back into neutral territory. In rushes Mark Smith to apprehend DeSean. They take Chris Curtis out of the cage, and Luis Hernandez still poking the bear. In all seriousness, though, complete and total hypocrite from Sean Strickland. This is one of Chris Curtis's regional fights against Kyle Stewart, where, like I said, this is putting Tim Welch to shame. Strickland is essentially just bullying Kyle Stewart throughout the entire fight, and there is no warning from the ref. He is just allowed to talk trash from the sidelines. So much so the camera even pans directly towards his face during the fight. Tarzan is no more. This is DeSean we're talking about, takes no shit, and will put these regional bums in check. I mean, you don't get to do the suck it sign to Strickland without paying some serious consequences. Rushes the cage, bare knuckle, doesn't cause any damage. In true Strickland fashion, we're not landing a whole lot of damage here, even while bare knuckle. So, Strickland's got to work on his punch power. And here's the heartwarming, heart of gold Chris Curtis rescuing his fellow man. And just feel I had to cover this. This is making waves recently. So yeah, gotta love this power couple. They're back in action. I know they had a little split on Twitter for whatever reason. Chris Curtis had to announce publicly that his friendship with Strickland needed some time on ice. So yeah, glad to see they're back together, doing the Lord's work on these regional shows. Putting these tomato cans in check. So nothing but respect to DeSean. Can't wait for what he has in store next. This is episode 1 of The Misadventures of DeSean. Thank you for watching.